So, you had a question. What was
Sure,
it?
yeah. How we made it, how we catch back up in the hours? I guess the first question is how many hours did we actually get behind? And I heard any from 4 to 6 to as high as a full day. And everybody kept asking, and I said, guys, it doesn't matter. Just keep moving. Where we made up a bunch of hours in the framing. We had used a company called Precision Panels out of Westfield, Mass. And I spent a lot of time with Michael on not only obviously the design of the frame structure, but what else could he do that he wouldn't normally do, for a panelized house that could save us time. What we wound up doing on the frame part is we panelized the floor system to make it so we just drop in instead of, because I watched that last build, and while they use paneled walls, they stick framed the floor. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. So we panelized the floor system. We actually changed some floor joist changes to make it easier just for that. We had some other details, but we looked at speed. Again, not working with a budget, we were just working with a clock. So that was one of the pieces. Then we looked at the roof. Obviously that becomes the big issue. This being a hip roof house, what we did is we pre-made all of the clips. And that means that we took the whole hip assembly, the side, and pre-made that. The house is 32 feet deep. So you come in 10 feet, we can get, we can go up to 12 foot wide because we had to work with DOT regulations on how to move this, how to transport it. So, and again, we're not paying for transportation because we're getting that donated. We're able to pre-assemble the whole roof on a number of trailers. The turret caps, okay, where they got the hats and all that detail, we pre-made that. If we were to frame that on site, we wouldn't have come to that level of detail because it was too small of an area to put too many people in. You never would have been able to accomplish that. That would have cleaned our clock, especially with the weather. So we were able to pre-frame a lot of this house so that it went up real quick. The other thing that we did on the framework was we painted all the walls on the floor panels. We actually laid this house out at the plant before it came down here. So every single wall was drawn on this. And by doing that, what that enabled us to do was to put in all the plumbing drops. I don't care how many times I built a house, no matter how many times we framed it or panelized or whatever, lo and behold, every time I turn around, I got a toilet that's right in the middle of a floor joist, and I got to take it out and I got to frame it. And sometimes it's a structural issue and sometimes it's not, but it's always a problem. We were able to, because we laid all the fixtures out on the floor, we were able to move those trusses out of our way prior to. That saved us all kinds of time with the plumbers and the electricians. We made up a lot of hours. Once that frame went up, we didn't care about some of the details on the roof. Heck, we didn't have a solid roof on there till well after sheetrock was already on. We were still screwing around with the roof, but it wasn't critical path. It was raining. Sure, we were having to deal with that issue, but it didn't slow us down. What sped us up was the fact that we were able to do plumbing easier. We were able to do wiring a lot because we had sent the electricians up to Massachusetts prior, and they pre-drilled all the holes. There was not one drill having to drill the normal stuff. Special stuff, yeah, it had to get drilled in. So we had no drilling, on site because we had all done a lot of pre-work. There was a lot of boxes, electrical boxes and so forth that were already pre-set up. We made up a lot of time with that. Heck, we made up so much time that during the concrete portion of the construction, we had a company come up to us to donate a sprinkler system. Last minute thing. I'm like, so we sat with them, we talked to them a little bit. So look, here's the window of opportunity. What can you do? I don't have any extra bodies at this point. He's no, I got 12 guys. We'll come in. We will not be in your way. really wanted to put this sprinkler system in. Looked at it saying they lost their house due to a fire. A sprinkler system would give them some comfort. I was concerned about the insurance activities, on that, because residential sprinkler systems tend to cause more damage due to water damage, due to balls hitting them, them tripping off. This is a system that avoids all that, the way they've got it set up. Boy, they came in and they were ahead of everybody. They didn't slow us down at all. We took that on. We weren't afraid of that. We made up more time in the flooring and painting. We literally were putting a floor down while there was scaffolding on that floor, because people were faux painting on the ceilings because the sheetrock were up. They were putting the floor down, rolling the scaffold out of the way, putting a couple more boards, putting protective cover, rolling the scaffolding up, and then putting the floor down underneath, and just covering as we were going. We made up a lot of time. If we were 24 hours behind, we made it all up, just in those activities.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
What about what do you think of the demo and sitting at that big table with in your
I had some other ideas of a demo. We brought out a pumpkin cannon, some of those things, kind of be more dramatic. The nights on horses. As a kid, I was on horses all the time. My grandparents had a farm, so anytime you can add a horse in, I'm a happy guy. They wouldn't let me ride though. I was a little upset, but it was cool. I not realizing we were going to be part of that. It was entertaining. Had I known that activity hurt, we started 3 hours late because of that. So right off the bat, I was 3 hours behind, schedule, because we were playing Knights of the Round Table. So it was entertaining. It was fun to do.
How about did you enjoy the Braveheart coming down?
My wife has short feet, or short legs, and we were moving at such a pace that halfway down Braveheart, she drifted off to the side because she couldn't keep up with the pace. So coming down, it was a little rushed. I was more into it than my wife was, because she'd have to run to keep up. But then we had to go back and redo it. Yeah. I guess that's where I first learned that it's not done on one take. You watch the TV show and you think it's all, it's pretty easy, but you take multiple different activities. Yeah.
When you knew that house was done and that family was coming home, how did you feel when the limo pulled up and that family was going to see that house?
Since you were in that first.
You had the bus sitting there, and then you did the practice runs back and forth.
He's telling all of our secrets, of course, which none of it will end up on television. But go ahead.
I understand that, but it keeps me in the
moment.
the moment.
Yeah, and I got you.
We're out there freezing our goonies off. It's raining, the wind's blowing, and you guys are playing back and forth. So when it finally came, we're all standing here. We're all cold. We've just gone through, the week of hell with the weather. We're standing there waiting. Nobody was moving. Nobody was leaving. We did have a woman faint, which we had in between some of the practice runs, had to take care of. But when they finally, came out of the limo, what got me the most is your design team because I was next to Michael, and your design team kind of pulled in front of me. So I was looking over between Michael and Paige's shoulders, and all I could see was Hannah come out. And in all of the activities I've seen with Hannah, she hasn't spoken. She hasn't had a smile on. She concerned over that. She came out of that limo smiling. That was enough for me. I didn't have to see anybody else. But then, of course, get the limo out of the way, and of course the bus is there, and then you guys go through all that routine back and forth again. Really didn't get to see, the front faces, and because I noticed all your cameras on the other side of the bus. So I really can't wait to see that piece of it. But what I did see was all the heartache that we went through was well worth it. Absolutely. Just in those moments.
It was a very emotional experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we were crying. I cried just thinking about it right now.
You guys must cry a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not used to all this, emotional stuff that goes on here. It's just not a normal thing in our life, You guys have, I knew my tear ducts could work so much, so it's tough.
That Hannah broke my heart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
I heard her talk for the first time while we were sitting in the other room, and I was kidding her. I was concerned. I didn't know if she did speak. The other ones are old enough. They can handle, change. This is tough. It's gonna wear on her for a long time. And coming from a broken family, a divorced family, and just the troubles that come with that, I didn't see anything of my father for 20 years. And I was Adam's age when that all took place. My sister is 6 years younger than me, and it was a problem for her. So I look at Hannah and go, we, at least my sister and I, had the opportunity in a way. My father came back around. She doesn't have that option. And I look at her and say, what's going to happen? How's she going to handle that? And her not talking, it's hard to know where she is,
So when you see her, what did you feel when you saw her?
That hopefully she can pass through it. She had a smile on. I think going away, all this time living in a trailer and camping and grandma's house and going and finally doing something fun was very good for her. She came back, she came back better, and that's the healing process. So I'm hopeful that I was talking to her about her room, and I didn't understand why she had snowflakes in her room, and she wouldn't tell me. Her brother Adam said her father used to call her Snowflake because of the day she was born. So it's even more beautiful. So.
I mean, could you describe when that family came out and you knew all that you had been through to get to this moment and who these people were? What, did it come true to you? Like, come really to fruition to you what this was really all about? I mean, aside from the television show, aside from all this other crap, you know what I mean? Yeah. What this really is about. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's I believe in a lot of things that that Conrad said early on in this thing. It's the house is a metaphor. It's about community. It's about helping the family, but it's about the community. And yesterday, of course, was about that family and the community support for that family. Just to see see a family that has had so much trauma to come into something like this. It's I don't know what to say about it. I do know that they need to get in the house so they can start their lives back. It's been up and down too much for them. They need that. I can't wait. I know in Carol's the videotape that you guys got, Carol talks about cooking him a meal and not being the best cook in the world for that. Nonetheless, we all want mom's food, and I hope that I know that they're going to have that. Actually, they're going to move in today, so that of course I don't have a stove working. but they're gonna be able to do that. So
Did you see Jacqueline and the rest of the kids, or did you just watch? Were you able to watch them hug and see their closeness? I mean,
yeah, they didn't leave each other. They move as a team. They don't move individually. They support each other. They don't go running off, and they stay close. To watch them, just hug each other the way they do. We don't do enough hugging. We really don't. My son gets mad at me because I do that all the time. I give him a hug and tell him I love him, and he's 18. Can't be doing that. My girls, of course, appreciate it every day, but you gotta hug, and to see that, it's great, and it's done without push. It's done without. They mean it. They truly do, and you don't get enough. You can't get enough of that.
I don't know if you were in any of the vehicles.
The vehicles.
No. What are you feeling right now?
That I'm crying a whole hell of a lot here.
They amaze me like that.
Did your back hurt?
Huh?
Did your back hurt?
No, actually my butt is.
Why do you think they are so close?
It's where they're raised.
Just hold a second.
They've got good parents. They've got I never got to meet Tom. I've just seen his pictures, but you don't have 5 children in any society, yesterday's, today's, tomorrow's, if you don't have parents that support you and take time for you. And it's clear that they've taken that time. Too often times we get tied up in trying to build things for ourselves. Usually monetary activities. We're consumed with the almighty dollar sometimes, and we have to survive. We have to be able to live and eat and move on. And it's clear that whatever was going on for them financially, they spent more time with each other as a family than most people do. So I look at Tom and Carol as parents that we should be more like. My children are older than theirs, and coming from a divorced family, I've always worked, I think, harder. And try to make sure that you keep the family together and you talk about everything, and have your Sunday night meals or get together. They're doing that. I know how hard it is to do that because everybody has such busy schedules, because you want the best for your children. Clearly they made the time. They took that time. I applaud them for doing that. Obviously they lived in an older home. They their means weren't as good as some. But to me, their wealth and their family is the richest that they have, and I'm jealous of that. I would like more of that for me. So,
Could you imagine what it's like for Carol?
to lose a spouse, a son, to lose your son is. You're going to lose your spouse eventually. I mean, let's face it, from the time we're born, we're destined to die. But it's not natural for a parent to have to bury a child. My grandmother had to do that. My uncle died. And he was in his mid-50s. And I know how hard that was. for an 85-year-old grandmother. I can't imagine what it was like to lose an 18-year-old son. Somebody who's just getting his life started, let's face it, until we're out of high school, we're just kind of floundering around, and you're starting to go somewhere. All I know is it's not natural, and so I can't imagine that. But then to lose her spouse at the same time, her support, her backup, as it is. No. I mean, now she's going to be, even with all we've given her, who does she turn to? She turns to her kids. They've been good. But they're only going to fill a certain portion. Obviously, it's going to be most of it. But obviously, her and her husband were close, so their quiet time is gone. And she's not getting that back. So add the two together, and it's going to be tough. Very tough. She's going to, and yet she's the strongest. She's the strongest woman I've seen. She's pushing through this without any question. Doesn't have much of a choice. And she's not, she's not folding. She's not giving up. She has the strength, and I applaud her for that. So.
You have a son. You have an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
So could you imagine?
No. And he's a junior. So I mean, I think when you have children, you expect certain things, and I know what I kind of expect out of my son, and I can't wait for him to start doing those things that I expect him to do. So I can't imagine if my son were to leave us, and pretty much in any form. If he just took off, it would kill me. But to lose him to death, no, that would be. My son was he was premature. He was 12 weeks early. He was 1 pound 9 ounces. So we almost lost him then. Now, of course, he's a pain in the butt, but he's alive and doing so. You think, we've thought about that a lot, because the first 14 weeks he was in the hospital. So you think about that every day. It's 18 years later, and we still think about that. So if I'm thinking about that now and he's alive, I can only imagine what if he didn't make it. So it's got to be tough on Carol. It's got to be tough on the kids, because if as tight knit as the children are now to each other and mom, I can only imagine how tight they were with their older brother. Because being the oldest in my family, I'm the oldest of 4, and the oldest grandchild, I know that you get a lot of pressure being the oldest. You're expected to do more. You're expected to be the stronger. And it's something that you don't have a choice. It's given to you. So I'm certain that they had that. And it's going to be tough on them right now. So I can relate a lot to the family.
I think about Lucas a lot, like being the one out there who saw everything. I worry about him too.
I saw the tape, from him. He seems extremely strong for such a young age. To him to see and not really be able to respond, not physically strong enough, I believe he went because Mark had pushed Hannah as far as he could, and Lucas went after. He didn't know what to do. He he saw his big brother, somebody he looked up to, going and doing what was right. Didn't know what to do, but listening to the tape, he's strong, but I'm worried that he's holding back on something, and I'm that without the proper or if there was no caring in the family, I'd be more concerned. But knowing as closely as they are, just for the limited that I have a great deal of comfort in knowing that they'll help them through it. Much like Hannah. I guess Adam is the one that I'm a little unclear on. I know he has a handicap. I'm not certain exactly what it is, but it's a little uncertain how to read him. So the rest of us, we can read each other, a little bit. I'm not sure where he is, and I'm concerned, for that as well. As I understand, he'll one of the pieces was, do we build an in-law apartment, for him, because probably going to stay there. And of course that hasn't been done yet. I think the town's going to take over that part of the project in the basement. So I'm not really sure how to read him. Not at this point anyway. Don't know them that well. I'm sure over the next few weeks as we finish the house, and we'll know more.
What about Carol, losing a spouse?
You got the holidays coming up. It's the first of the holidays. A lot of decision making that goes on between husband and wife. Whose family do we go to? The arguing, the bickering back and forth. Do we go visit your family, my family? Do they come here? What do we spend? What kind of gifts? All those. She doesn't have that. This is her first holiday alone. You got a lot of firsts coming up. First anniversary that's missed. The first birthday that's missed. It's gonna be tough. I don't know who her backup is. I don't know if it's the church down the street, her lawyer who I've met, who seems to be pretty close to the family, her best friend. I don't know. But she needs someone. My hopes are is that she just doesn't try to rely on the children, and she lets. I'm sure she will. She seems to have a pretty good handle on things. So I just hope that there doesn't come a point that that she loses it. Which you wouldn't know how to blame her. Let's face it. So I think that a lot of comfort from the house will be more for her than the kids. Kids are resilient. You can pretty much throw them into anything, and they seem to bounce well. But as we get older, we don't. And I think the house is going to be able to give her the comfort, her stability back. I think the house in itself will become her backup, because she'll be able to do the things that she wanted to do for her children because of the house. So it won't take care of everything, but I think it will, give her a lot. So.
How do you feel about orchestrating giving her that house?
Oh, I feel great.
You feel great about what?
Giving her the house, giving her what she wants. I was asking the kids when we were in there, because I haven't heard, how she feels about the house yet. The kids, especially, knowing what you guys know about them, Adam with his trains, and Lucas with his knights and his hockey, and the scrapbooking. I don't know I'm always fearful about whenever I design and build a house. The biggest critic is the wife. You have to if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. It's that simple. So you got to make sure the kitchen is right. You got to make sure the flow is right. I get very concerned about a lot. We had quite a bit of discussion about design, of the kitchen and the master bathroom, and there were changes made because of the show, not changes that I would have normally accepted, because there's lots of reasons I do things. There's lots of reasons the customers, and I don't see Carol any different than some of those. So I'm very interested in knowing how she feels about the house. In the press conference today, I said to her that I'd be over. We're gonna start our punch list tomorrow, and then I'd be over to start showing her how the house works. She says, "Good." She says, "It looks a little complicated." And I said, "No." I says, "In fact, one of the things that I wanted to make certain of is that it's not. That it's a very easy house to maintain. That it's a very easy house to operate. The way that we've set up with the geothermal and the solar panels and the brick and so forth, it makes it very easy to maintain. It's a system, you just set it and forget it. So you don't have to worry about what is it doing outside. And so we've made the system very smart, to the tune that we have smart light switches even in there, to make everything very simple, so that it really becomes very simple. So she won't have to worry a lot about how to maintain this house, because there's not a lot to worry about. Yeah.
How did it feel when the family hugged you?
Well, I've only gotten a hug from Carol. The kids, that's been held off, and Carol just keeps wanting to give me hugs, and it's great. In fact, this whole week, it's all everybody's done is give me hugs, and I've never shaken so many hands in my life. And I know that I'm in my 15 minute Lyme life out there, and it's all going to go back to normal right after this. But the hugs, as again I said before, hugs are extremely meaningful. Carol's is there, obviously I think all hugs are sincere, but Carol is she's excited, and rightfully so. I just the lucky guy that is the guy that gets the hug, so I feel honored for that.
What did you think of the Voluntown making this happen?
Voluntown is my brother and his family used to live in Voluntown, and my nephew and my 3 nieces went to the Voluntown school system. So I always said to my brother, you're in the middle of nowhere. I'm in Colchester. You're 20 minutes away, but the further east I go in Connecticut, the less people you see. And I don't like the city. I'm not to say I'm a city pumpkin, but boy, you come out here and you look, and the town, what is it? 80% of the town is owned by the state, with parks and so forth. So it's never going to be, super populated. It's sweet. It's a sweet town. It's got very caring people. The volunteer fire department is great. I'm involved in my town, in the town politics. Been doing that for 23 years, and it's important to see how your town operates. So I look at this town and see how it operates. It operates on a very small budget, and gets things done because they do things with volunteers. I think all towns, all small, New England towns, have a lot of volunteerism. The fact that Voluntown is named after its volunteers is great. They have stepped up greatly.
That's awesome. I guess my last question would be your life lessons or final thoughts. What if any life lessons, final thoughts from this one?
When this was for me, taking on this as a chance of a lifetime, to be involved in such a project. The one thing that I know is that because of ABC, we get all this. We get this activity. I mean, habitat houses. People do it all day, and you don't get this kind of press. The one thing I've learned from all this is that we can do a whole lot more with the right advertising. That's clear, and you get it makes it a lot easier to do. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that we shouldn't give up on ourselves. That we can do more as an individual. We can do more as a community. That volunteerism, isn't dead, and it's going to be. If it dies, then we do. Ourselves, our state, our finances, the troubles that we're in right now from a financial standpoint, globally. We all need to step up to the plate more, to do more. And this shows me, put money aside, you can make things happen. So I have a greater confidence that we will survive and we will come forward. This build has been great. My wife hasn't left my side during the entire build, and she's not much of a camper. So she's been, it's been a tough road for her coming out here. So it has pushed a lot of activities for us that you wouldn't normally do, and it's been great. I mean, the learning curve, on what's going on. I had somebody come up to me last night, and I hadn't given much thought about it. It was a college, and asked me if I would help in a paper for organizing. And I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but I just again, we organized a whole bunch of people to put together, but no different than you guys do all the time. You get the luxury of doing it there, so they should really talk to you, not me. But I will say that your schedule has, around this area, has hit a lot of other people other than builders. So one of the things I learned last night is that the work schedule that you've put out has affected a group of programmers that I work with, and they looked at your schedule and saying, bodies do add a lot, to what's going on. And they're looking at your schedule right now, and they're actually trying to put something together based on it. So I've learned that it's not just about the build; it's what it affects, and that's something as far stretched as like anyone can imagine that would come out of this. So I look and say, well, there's a lot of good that has come from this, all outside of just the house, which is great.
Change your life. You feel good about you.
Oh, it changed my life today. I said yes. I feel great right now. I'm sure I'm going to continue to feel great. I haven't been able to work at my regular job in the last 2 months, but to make things happen. But that's okay. We'll get back into that. And it's funny as my customers, when I told the customers that I have at hand right now that I was getting involved in this, and I asked them if they could wait, for me. And when you first say that, you're a little nervous about it. And they were, oh no, you have to do this. Take your time. One woman said to me, one of the reasons that we selected you is because we felt very comfortable with you, and the fact that you're doing this even gives me a greater comfort to know that that's the kind of guy you are. So that was a good feeling. And I hadn't done anything yet, So it's great.
That's great.
Yeah, it's going to change a lot of things.
Good job, Bruno.
All right, let's sit quiet.
Oh,
30 seconds.
room tone.
Room tone. This is for editing, so we just have to be real quiet. Okay, room tone. We are good.
Yeah. Thank